Hello, everyone, and good morning. Welcome to our live feed update for February 12th. I'm your host, Aaron Armstrong, and with me today is Aman. How you doing, Aman?
Hi, Taryn. Hi, everyone. I was scrolling through Twitter and I think I just saw someone. Today is the anniversary for Rob Has a Podcast. If that's the case, happy anniversary to you, Taryn, and Rob, of course, and the rest of the RHAP team.
Well, there you go. If it's
I really hope I didn't just butcher that. I'm pretty sure I saw Rob respond to that tweet. So if this is like a fraudulent, anniversary well-wishing, I'm so sorry. But regardless, happy non-anniversary, if not.
All right. Sounds good. We are here to update you on everything that happened on the Big Brother Celebrity 2 live feeds yesterday. We do have some stuff to update. Finally, the veto was played, so we have an update here. We're also going to get into Lolo's game across the whole 3 weeks of Big Brother Celebrity 2. So we'll talk about Lolo as well. Try to find some value in what she's done. I'm sure there's something somewhere.
I mentioned she's the last remaining member of the draft that I'm in. So, I'm going to also try and be as optimistic as possible so that I can feel good about her winning.
Yeah.
Not just because I wanted her to.
There you go. So let's get into the day first. First of all, Kandi and Lolo got into a little bit of a thing the previous night where Kandi had talked to Lolo about how Lolo has votes in the end. She can win. And Lolo got very mad about this. Like, no, I don't have votes. What are you talking about? That's nonsense. Why would you say that?
Yeah, it's that conversation that usually takes place a lot towards this part of the game where, someone's like, oh, you really are someone that could have the potential to win. And of course, that's the worst thing that you want to hear because you want to remain under the radar. And a piece of me is like, a piece of me feels like, damn, Lolo, did you actually take actual offense to this and not like fake in-game offense? Because she's such a firecracker. You just never know just how far she's willing to take it in terms of expressing her anger. So it was, as always, entertaining to watch for me.
Yeah, I love Kandi. Did not love this move by Kandi to basically let Lolo know, I will not be taking you to the final two. And Lolo is going to remember this, which is very important because Lolo is going to end up winning this power of veto. Kandi did not win. It was apparently literally a hurdling competition.
And when I heard that, my first inclination wasn't even to be upset about it being hurdles. I was more upset with Lolo because she was complaining ever since the feeds came back on about feeling like she had a hole in her chest and feeling like she was just gonna die and that she'd never been through something like that before. And I'm like, you are an Olympian. Like, how is this the thing that takes you out? But she's I guess been out of practice in a way for the past 3 or 4 weeks, so fine. But it's so weird to me. It's so weird.
Yeah, so Lolo is gonna have this win here, and really worst case scenario for Kandi that Lolo wins it. Even if nobody else would have used it on her, there was at least a chance that somebody else with the leverage who would have been more inclined to keep her. But especially given this conversation she had with Lolo, Lolo is very anti-Kandi at the moment. So right away, Tamar is going to go up to Lolo, and she's gonna, hey, I saw Kandi and Dena. They were slapping hands. What's up with that? Why are they slapping hands? Is there something going down? Are you going to put me on the block? Am I getting voted out? Is that what's going on, Lolo? What's happening here?
Yes.
Lolo's like, no, we're good.
She's like, no, I actually really would like to get rid of Kandi. So, no. And Tamar, of course, she's going to feel paranoid because it's down to that point. And like, I mean, I would feel the same way if I saw the two of them slap, especially if the both of you just lost. Like, what the hell are you guys slapping hands for?
What are you slapping hands for? What's
like,
this? What is going on?
What is this?
It was funny. Ricky eventually comes in and they're like trying to decipher, okay, what could they have meant by slapping hands? They're probably just happy. They're glad just to have gotten this far, right? That's what's probably going on. Lolo does tell her in this conversation, you know, I wouldn't look, even if I did use the veto and you went on the block, I wouldn't vote you out. Just definitely a red flag here for Tamar.
Yeah, it should clue her in, but I mean, I think that she's just so fixated on not wanting to be on the block and knowing that she's made it this far and all she has to do is make it to the final 4 and they can play in the final 3 HOH, that I guess take certain like things that should be cluing you in. You're kind of willing to silence those alarms in your head because you're just that close. But it should definitely, like, it's like, you really like, yeah, Tamar, you have to think about who you can beat. Can you beat Lolo? Can you beat Dena? Can you beat Kandi? Can you beat Ricky? Like, who do you want to sit next to? Like, we know that Lolo won the veto. She has some of the power right now. She was kind of acting like she had like more power than she usually does last night. But you have to start thinking about that too. Just as Lolo's thinking about who she should beat, you have to do the same.
Yes. So Tamar talks to Ricky, and she is talking about how it's clear that Lolo doesn't want Kandi to stay. But Ricky, do we really want Dena to win this thing? Do we want Dena to be in the final 4 of this? Do we want that to represent our season? Tamar is going to spend a lot of the night very clearly campaigning for Kandi to stay, trying to pretend that she's not campaigning for Kandi to stay, and I'm all about it. I really want her to succeed, even though it's probably not the best thing for her game. Like, if she really wants to take Kandi to the final 2, but you know, look, I stopped rooting for strategy a long time ago. Just keep Kandi around.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this was not the season for Mr. Terry. This is not your kind of season. But yeah, I mean, I honestly, and I guess I've come around to, you know, Dena sort of taking this as well. I mean, don't at me, bitches. I'm sorry. But like, I you know, I see, I can make a case for all of them at this point. Like, I wouldn't be that upset if any of them won. Sure, there are people that I would like to see win more than some of the others. But you know, like, I'm for Kandi staying. If she goes, so be it. If Dena stays until the end and ends up winning this in the final 2, so be it. If Tamar can somehow get herself in the final 2 and wins, so be it. You know, like, I'm along for the ride. I concur with your sentiments. I think that it's not the best move for Kandi to stay in terms of Tamar's game, but you know.
Yeah. I think one of the outcomes I think would be really fun is if Tamar got to the final 2 and she, obviously I want Kandi to win, but if she cut Kandi, because she has to cut Kandi, if she cuts Kandi at the final 4, takes Lolo, and then like makes this big speech about like, I had to make myself not liked so that people would want to take me to the end. You know, I'm a big fan of this game. If she comes out with like a big speech that wins the game, I think that would be pretty fun. I think that would be like a nice, somewhat strategic ending.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's something that she's capable of doing, because I mean, Tamar hasn't had like a lot of, you know, power in the game in terms of like comp wins. So we don't really see, I mean, she just won 2, but we don't necessarily see her, you know, enacting a lot of plans. Like, she's been covering her bases, but it would be interesting to see just what she would do, because she does understand the game. She came into the game with a lot more understanding of how it works than her peers. So I think it's something that she is capable of thinking about and actually doing. So we'll see. I mean, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't mind that. I think it'd be a badass way to end the season. And I think that it would be hard. People would be hard pressed to be like, oh, Tamar never deserved. Well, she just, you know, she made the final move. She got rid of Casey, if we're talking about power. You know what I mean?
Gets rid of Casey and then pulls the Dan Giesling, which is make compelling revisionist history in your final two speech that tricks the jury. Like, that would be so much fun.
Exactly. I'm down for that.
All right. So, so Tamar is saying that she wants Kandi, or she's trying to imply that Kandi is the better person to stay to Ricky. She says that Lolo clearly wants Kandi gone, but so she needs to have a talk with Lolo. And Ricky's like, I feel like that's probably not your best move right now. You don't want to piss her off. That's going to turn into a thing. She's got the veto. Maybe hold off on that. And Tamar's like, this very much reminds me of the conversation Ricky had with Tom about talking with Tamar. And Tamar's like, hey, I can handle it. It's fine.
Yeah, it's Tom, or Ricky really is all last night. He kind of just, he's like one of my favorite gifs of that guy going like, I don't know if you really want to do that, because, I mean, he's had to deal with Tamar all season long. They were the bedroom alliance. Like, so he's pretty keen on how she might respond in certain situations. So it was very amusing to watch him pretty much walk around eggshells and sort of, it's kind of in between a rock and a hard place, because Lolo can be the exact same way. Like, Lolo and Tamar are two sides of the same damn coin.
Yeah.
So, him trying to, stay above the fray, but also just have enough influence so that his best interests work out is interesting manipulation and gameplay, to say the least.
I actually feel like he's doing a pretty good job here, because if you think about it, heading into this veto, as I've been talking about in the updates, Lolo has kind of been drifting away from wanting to take Ricky to the final two. Tamar has been talking with Lolo more about taking her to the final two. I do think Tamar would probably go with Ricky over Lolo if Kandi was not there. But it's these are two players that I think that if they fight with each other today, the day before the finale, the day before they make that decision, they're less likely to take each other to the end, because they care about who they sit next to. They keep talking about like not wanting people like Dena to represent their season. And so if Ricky is able to stay neutral between the two of them and have the good feelings of both of them while they battle it out, on the side, then they are both more likely to be like, screw Lolo. She got mad at me for wanting to keep Kandi. I'm gonna take Ricky, and vice versa. So I actually do feel like Ricky is having a pretty decent job here, doing a pretty decent job here.
Yeah, I mean, he essentially is keeping Tamar cool, but also letting Lolo know, like, look, you won. So whatever you want to do, it's your decision to make, and there really isn't much that we can say. So it's your decision, and at least, I mean, at the end of this conversation, that left Lolo with with the general notion, okay, well, I'm gonna sleep on it, I'm gonna pray on it, and I guess we'll talk again tomorrow morning. So if this eventually makes Lolo just, ponder more in her head, and she ends up doing something that Tamar wouldn't want her to do in getting rid of Kandi, and sparks fly. I mean, Ricky is sitting pretty. He can, use that to his advantage. And I think it's a tough call to make. Also, this whole thing about Dena being the representative this season, honestly, I feel like if Dena won this game, we would never see her again. Like, Marissa is the representative of Celebrity Big Brother season 1, and I think that she will continue to be the representative of Celebrity Big Brother, and that we'll see her come back to host comps. She'll be back on the Facebook chat and all that stuff. I don't see Dena ever really coming back. I see her winning and being like, okay, bye. I'm gonna go find my catfish and live my best life.
I don't know. She's such a mom. I could see this being like very much like Marissa. Like, hey, look, this is my thing now. Like, if she wins, I think if she loses, she's gone. But I do think she might be around if she won it.
Maybe. I just find her so low key that I don't think that this is her gig. I mean, I could be wrong, but who knows? I guess we just have to wait and see if she wins.
But I do think that she would be a good representation of, like, for the like, she's been one of the most positive people on the show. Yeah. With such a negative season, I do think it would be nice.
I think she's definitely the least polarizing character as a game player. she's very polarizing because people are like, hey, she hasn't done anything. Some people are like, oh no, she's done the perfect game. She's stayed out of, she got all the way to the end. She coasted, she floated or whatever. So in terms of gameplay, no. In terms of a person, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
sure.
Because that's really what they're talking about. But obviously, Kandi would be the best representative of the season. I think we're all clear about that.
Yeah.
So Lolo talks to Ricky. She says that she really wants Kandi gone. She knows Kandi won't take her to the final 2. And she has the days down. Candy's been studying. And so she's a bigger threat in the final 4. So she's considering using the veto on Dena to make sure that Kandi goes home, putting up Tamar next to Kandi, and then they can make sure that they vote to evict Kandi. Ricky says, I don't know. Tamar's going to like that. They do have a conversation with Tamar, and Lolo lets Tamar know what she's thinking. Tamar is very anti on the block. She's, I don't like that idea. I don't like that idea. She said, I have no problem voting Kandi out. That said, Kandi, Dena's come close to winning comps more than Kandi has, so something to consider. Lolo says, yeah, but Candy's better at days, and that's what's coming up. She's like, oh, okay, but Dena winning the game, that would really suck, right? That would really suck. And Lolo's like, but wouldn't Kandi winning suck too? And Tamar's like, yeah, you're right. That would suck too. So they kind of have a bit of a stalemate here, and they decide, as you said, let's just think and pray on it and talk about it in the morning.
Yeah, it was a ping pong match because I was last night watching this all go down while playing Kingdom Hearts 3. And I remember like after the conversation sort of died down, I was like, wait, so what are they gonna do? It was really hard for me to ascertain the end goal, the summation of that meeting. But Lolo's gonna pray, and I guess she gonna talk to God, and whatever God tells her to do this morning, she gonna do it. So now we wait, I guess.
There you go. That's really what we ended the day with here. We'll probably get a better understanding of who's going to be going home. It does seem very much like it is going to be Kandi at the moment. Lolo does have a lot more leverage. Really, what it comes down to is if Tamar wants to force the issue, she needs Ricky on her side. And if Lolo is not going to use the veto, she probably will need to get some confirmation from both at least Ricky and Tamar, but at least Ricky, that they will be voting to evict Kandi. And I don't think that Ricky would be willing to go against his word for the sake of Kandi. So it seems difficult to find a scenario where Kandi stays unless Tamar is able to convince Ricky enough that the two of them are able to convince Lolo that they need to keep Kandi. Doesn't seem particularly likely right now, but it's not completely out of the cards quite yet.
Yeah, I guess, work on the one that's more inclined to agree with you or has more reason or is more malleable, and then work with the most rigid part of the triangle. And I mean, as far as the way the things have been going on the feeds and now, I just feel like, and I know that there's a veto ceremony coming up, so that changes the dynamic, but I agree. I really don't think that there really is enough time for them to really convince. I don't even know if Tamar can really convince Ricky at this point. I just think that, I mean, all three of them have been in this alliance for so long now, and I think if there's two people that are already leaning more towards one way, that it's probably going to stick that way because, at this point in the game, it's just you got get to the end, get to the end, get to the end.
Yeah, and again, Lolo has the leverage here, and really, it's not in any of their best interests for Kandi to stay. Lolo is completely right that Kandi knows the days a lot better than Dena does. She's been studying a lot more. I think she is a lot more capable of winning that final HOH, and if either Dena or Kandi win the final HOH, all three of them lose the game, hands down. So they should go with the person who's less likely to win the competition. It is, again, in Lolo's best interest, in Ricky's best interest, and in Tamar's best interest that Kandi does not stay in the game. But, that doesn't mean that, look, these players, they're not that great. So there's a chance.
Yeah. I mean, it's so interesting because I thought about Kandi being able to win, and I was like, it's sort of similar to Marissa in that they both have not won any competitions, but now it's like that kind of game can work for so many people, but sometimes you have to match your social game with at least one or two comp wins. Sometimes you can't skate all the way to the end without getting some power in your hands, and I think if we see Kandi go home, that's pretty much what her story will be. It sucks, but
Yeah.
Oh well.
And something else to consider, especially after last night, the episode, I think was, I talked about this last night. I do think that it was kind of bad for Lolo. It was a lot of Lolo's worst moments. I think it was kind of good for Tamar and Ricky, who had some good moments. Ricky was a little less visible, but I still think he came off decently well. And this was kind of confirmed a little bit in the social media. I think I saw a Jonathan. He liked a tweet that said anybody but Lolo. Previously, it had been negative about Tamar, and he was negative about, like, it seemed like Jonathan was most negative toward Tamar and Ricky. However, now he's liking tweets about anybody but Lolo. That episode again probably reminded him of when he was betrayed by Lolo and she cried about it and all this like nonsense that was super annoying. Could have had an impact. Also, I saw the first Kato inclination here, also very anti-Lolo specific after the episode aired, immediately after the episode aired. So Kato, I think, is exactly the kind of person who would be swayed, but he goes to watch this particular episode because he knows he's going to be in it, and because it's the clip show, and then he sees all this stuff from Lolo that he probably hadn't really seen before, and he's very influenced, and now he's liking tweets about anti-Lolo. This could make a difference here when it comes to Tamar versus Lolo. I think Ricky probably already was beating Lolo, but also could make a difference there. Something else that I talked about last night and went into a little more on Twitter is that she did have an exchange with Joey on Instagram where she tweeted something. Joey found it very, he was like, oh, thank you. He did a screenshot, posted it on Instagram. He was like, oh, thank you. This is so, I can't believe you said this, Lola. This is so wonderful. And then in the Instagram comments, Lolo Jones, the official Instagram account, responded. And yes, I was like, did I miss something? Am I dumb? What's going on here? So Joey says, wow, I just want to send a shout out to Lolo Jones for the kind words. Yes, yo, Lolo, they truly mean so much. We had a few tense moments in the Big Brother house, that's for sure. But you are an honorable person, and I respect your passion and faith and your unrelenting fire to compete, so on and so forth. Good luck, and God bless in this final round of gameplay. Lolo Jones responds, I genuinely meant every word and apologize for these tense moments. Not everyone will know the moments we did have as a house, and that's okay. I appreciate your words. Cry emoji, heart emoji. Lolo Jones, first of all, can't use Instagram. She can type things out that are sent on Twitter, not Instagram. Obviously not allowed to view any comments made by anybody outside of the house. So there's no way that she could have responded to this. I thought maybe I missed something. Maybe something happened that other people would be able to explain. Nobody is able to explain this. My explanation, the only thing that I can think of that I did talk about last night, is this has to be the person running Lolo's Instagram account impersonating Lolo to solidify jury votes. And
why on God's green earth would Joey not realize that? Were you on Instagram in the house, Joey?
Look,
did you have access to any of your DMs, any of your mentions on Instagram?
Again,
Instagram and Twitter like
players.
Now paired? What the hell is going on?
I love this. I find it so funny.
And you know what? Kudos to whoever's running Lolo's account. I might need you to run my shit because obviously you are way better at it than I am. Because that's wild. That's really wild. I was like, Instagram, what? I was like, was it like part of her veto win? Did it come with like a?
I know, that's what I was thinking.
5-minute Instagram package? Like, I don't understand. That's very strange. And I guess it's clear to say that Grodner is now like the final jury member and swaying the jury back and forth. And I mean, on one end, it's sort of like disappointing because I mean you get so used to the regular version of Big Brother and that, oh no, they need to be sequestered, they can't, don't poison them, they can't know everything. But that, I guess that's just how this version of the game works, and this might inform a lot of their future players. Like, look, like they're going to be able to watch this back and see it. Not only that, but there are going to be edited clips. There's going to be a clip show eventually. Be the best part of that clip show. Don't be the worst part. Like, you don't want to piss too many people off. And it's just another layer of strategy, I guess.
I feel like this is one of my few social media posts where I feel like, because I posted the screenshot of it on Twitter, and I felt like if I wanted to be incendiary and I wanted this to go like just get really big, I could have made like a Lolo Jones cheating, and like all of the casuals would have been so confused. This would have been fire. It would have been controversy. But I couldn't do it. I had to be less crazy about it. But this does make me wonder.
Do it just to be petty.
I'm telling you, anybody post this on the Facebook group or whatever, it will blow up. It's yours. It's yours to do.
People are waiting on their next fix to be pissed off.
Yes, exactly. This did make me wonder: has Lolo Jones been posting a lot of, because Lolo has been tweeting a lot of things that are directed at people? She tweeted at Jonathan like, "Oh, I love you. I'm sorry for the way things went in the house." Was that actually Lolo? We've been thinking it was because it's on Twitter. But who knows at this point, if her social media person is willing to impersonate her here, maybe they've been impersonating her the whole time. Maybe all of this social media jury work has been her social media manager the whole time.
If so, props to whoever the hell she has running her shit, because that's masterful. I would hope that it isn't like I would hope that like if they went through the trouble of getting them an iPad and then giving them only access to one social media platform, I would hope that would be the social media platform that they agree to have total autonomy over. But then again, probably not, because I'm pretty sure Jonathan was one of the first accounts to tweet, and it was him with a picture of like a mocha or some shit. And it's like, where would he have gotten that picture on the iPad? Did they pre-upload pictures on that iPad for him to then tweet out? Like, they probably have other people on that.
I'm pretty sure I saw Tom Green tweets that weren't from Tom Green when he was in the house, that were like from his. I know his parents were running his Instagram, promoting
like his show coming up and stuff like that. So, hey, once again, another layer of strategy. Make sure that you got to get you a social media publicist.
Yeah, Trent Walgamot in the chat says Lolo hired Dan Giesling to run her social media. All right, so there you go. That's a nice little taste of Lolo before we get into her game. But really, I did want to go over some of the jury votes that we're looking at here in preparation for the roundtable tonight. We'll go into more detail. But I've been counting Ricky, Natalie, Tom, and Kato as Lolo votes if she's next to Tamar. If Kato was swayed by this, or maybe he was Tamar the whole time, but given Tom's social media likes and such, and Kato's feelings toward both of them, really, it did seem like he was probably leaning one way. But if Lolo doesn't have Tom and Kato, then I think that Tamar has a very real chance to win this one. I do think Lolo still probably has Joey, so that's important, because if she does have Tom and Kato, and she has Natalie and Ricky, and she has Joey, then she's already won. But if she doesn't have Kato anymore, that means she might not have Tom, and I think the field goes wide open at that point. So Tamar definitely, I think, has some chance here based on the social media likes. Now, I'm all about reading the social media likes.
Yeah, it's probably the one of the few times where you have to actually be worried about them damn likes. Like, So it's been confirmed that Mooch is not voting, right? Or is that not confirmed?
I've read it in lots of places, and it would make no sense to me that he would vote, but I don't know if I've seen it directly from CBS.
Right. it's kind of interesting because he's probably going to be at the finale.
Yes, I've heard that he's going to be at the finale, but he's not going to be voting.
He just will not vote.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right. So let's talk about Lolo's game from the start to the end. Lolo, she enters the house. She immediately bonds with Natalie, Ricky, and Tamar. Those are her roommates. She has an Olympic connection with Ryan, which sort of helps bring her into this Jonathan alliance that is formed on night 1. This Jonathan alliance is not going to last very long because she quickly becomes dissatisfied with it. She says that she is jealous of Ryan and Jonathan's relationship, and so this leads to some tension when she flips off Ryan's picture in front of him, and that leads to him being like, hey, maybe I should make a move on Lolo. She clearly hates us. Ricky wins the veto. Ricky is the wrong person to tell that plan to. Ricky runs to Lolo and tells her Ryan's plan to potentially backdoor her, and at this point, she's done with the Jonathan alliance, and she wants Jonathan out. Meanwhile, because of Natalie's connection to Kato, they are able to come together with Tom, Lolo, Kato, Tom, and Natalie, and they start to form a kind of 1-week deal to get Jonathan out and keep each other safe in the following week. They also bring Ricky in closer with them based on his maneuvering and telling them the information about Ryan. Then we also see Tamar go off on Kandi, and Tamar wants Kandi gone, they want Jonathan gone. This drives a bit of a wedge between Tamar and the women, and so Tamar, who was part of that group and part of that alliance, does get separated a bit for the time being here, and the sort of group of 5 of Natalie, Lolo, Ricky, Tom, and Kato are going to move forward into the next week as the kind of tightest group of people working together as Jonathan gets evicted. And that's week 1 in a nutshell.
Yeah, that was good. Good job, Taryn. That was really that really recapitulated everything in my head. I think that this she had me very, 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 very scared from the moment that she started to be in her feelings about Jonathan and Ryan, and I thought, oh, this is not good. This is the part where she decides to just blow everything up, and this is going to, like, next week they're going to come after her because she is proven to be a loose cannon, and then it's the usual, I can't trust you anymore, and you don't intend to trust me, so I have to put your ass up and bye, Lolo. But didn't happen. She was sort of able to make connections, through Natalie, and sort of insulate herself. And also get somebody that she wanted out, even if not everybody that she was with agreed with it. So I think that she definitely made a tremendous error, and I think this is kind of what gets the snowball of conflict of Lolo rolling at this point, and people beginning to realize that she's a bit of a hothead. She did not. The biggest error was flipping off Ryan and Jonathan, but I think that it still worked out in her favor in the end, and I think that she navigated as well as she could, given the fact that she shot herself in the foot from the get-go.
Yes, and really, I think the takeaways I got from going over their games is that Natalie was usually the strategic driver of the pair of them. It was Natalie's connection that got them in with Tom and Kato. Lolo later will have a better social connection with the two of them, but Natalie was the one that initiated it. Natalie is usually the one that's going to be making the moves, and Lolo's contribution to their alliance was to bring in people that she would later betray for no reason. And as you mentioned, I think really the biggest mistake Lolo makes all season long, even more than her blow-ups on Tom and Kato, is saying in the diary room, I'm jealous of Ryan and Jonathan's relationship, and that being a very clear, her being the very clear motivation for this strategic game move that changes the course of the entire game. It really paints a bad light on the rest of her decisions in the game, when the first thing she does is motivated by jealousy. Jealousy, not exactly a respected motivation.
I mean, it was brilliant to watch. It was I loved watching her melt down like this, but it's not good. And you paint yourself as this person that is willing to cut people for just how you feel that day. And it makes it very hard. I mean, in the beginning of the game, people are more willing to, you know, forgive their grievances of you because of the fact that it's a numbers game in the beginning. But people still remember that. And I think that, you know, we'll talk about it more as you progress through her game, but she gets into so many more arguments that I think it's so hard to, like, because you're gonna have to play cleanup and all season long, and like that's not fun, and it doesn't really make you the best person to win the game in the end.
Yeah. So Jonathan leaves. Kato is going to win the next HOH, and with Kato in power, it really solidifies this group of 4 to 5. Where previously the women were saying this is a 1-week deal, even though Tom and Kato right from the beginning thought that they were going to be going to the end with the women. But now that Kato's in power, the women are like, oh yeah, we do want to work with you more long term. And so Lolo is hoping that Ryan will be backdoored this week. She talks to Tamar about it. They had talked without her, and Tamar is mad because of some Kandi stuff and the fact that they were talking without her and the fact that she might be going on the block. This is when Lolo and Tamar get into their second fight after we saw the clip of Natalie and Lolo in the final 2 and the punch in the throat, which is probably I don't know. They were both pretty good fights. I don't know. It's hard to choose.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of I know someone got one more time to call me a bitch, and I'm gonna start yanking. Well, then do it. Then say it. Then do it. Then say it. Then do it.
Then say it. Then do it.
I'm always a big fan of the verbal stalemate before it becomes physical, where they're like, "Oh, well, you gotta do something first, girl." It's like, we gotta sit down. Somebody go to the diary room, cool off for a little bit, talk to Allison, get your head right, come back. Make up. Let's continue. Like, let's it's the two of them are just, like I said, just two sides of the same coin.
Yeah,
hilarious.
So Lolo is going to encourage Ricky to work on his relationship with Tom as they solidify this more long-term alliance with Tom and Kato. Tom is expressing some doubt in Ricky, and Lolo wants to get rid of that because Lolo wants Ricky involved in this alliance. She gives him specific instructions. Ricky carries those instructions out. It appears that they work, but it turns out maybe they didn't later on. They do solidify this alliance to move forward more long-term, and she's also going to talk with Natalie about how they're done with Tamar. They're done with her. She's arguing with her now. They're working with Tom and Kato and Ricky. They don't need Tamar anymore. They want her gone soon. In fact, if Ryan or Joey wins the veto, they're voting out Tamar over Dena. That's the plan, and that's what they're sticking to.
Yeah, I was sad about this because I'm a big fan of Tamar. She really caters to the audience because she's just a big character. And I thought that this maybe was just biased, but I thought that this just wasn't I thought it wasn't smart.
Oh, it was not smart,
Lolo, because why do people continuously form these alliances, insulate themselves, and then start chipping away at the insulation? It's just like, come on, like you have to think more logically about this. Like, I understand that you live with these people 24/7, they start to piss you off every little thing they do, but come on, like, be in it to win it. Think about your game. Like, what are you doing?
They even mentioned to themselves, Dena's kind of more on Kato's side, Tamar's kind of more on our side, but whatever. We're just so done with her. We need to take her out this week if Ryan or Joey win the veto.
I pray that if I ever am blessed enough to play this game, that I am able to recognize like general annoyance and pissed offedness, if it were, and like bad for my game, you gotta go. Like I would hope. I mean, we see it all the time, so maybe it's kind of hard and the lines get blurred for some people, and they honestly think that just because you're pissed off right now, they have to go. But I would hope that someone would give me the clarity to be like, look, like, we know, like, you gotta move past this. Like, we can get through this. Like, think about next week. Think about next week. Think about next week. She just was not able to do that. Yeah.
So luckily, though, for Tamar, Ryan or Joey do not win the veto, and Ryan is going to be evicted here. So heading into week 3. Before the HOH, Ricky is going to spill some information to Natalie and Lolo about how Joey is coming for Lolo and Natalie, and Lolo is pissed. Not happy with Joey. How dare he? He has no right to be upset after he didn't want to be in an alliance that I never actually proposed to him. How dare he? I regret crying for Ryan. Really upset about everything there. So Tom is going to end up winning this veto, or sorry, this HOH, and pretty quickly Natalie and Lolo are going to start talking to themselves about, hey, do we really want to stay loyal to this alliance? Because Tom and Kato, they're like really strong. It was competitions. Kato just won an HOH. Tom won an HOH. I don't know if we want to take them to the end. I don't know if that's really what we want to do. They did have this conversation prior to Tom and Kato deciding that they wanted to go after Ricky. So this was in the works here, despite what they claim.
Yeah. This is that part like where they just weren't winning anything. Surprisingly enough, and I think it probably was like sort of like a little bit embarrassing for them, just a little bit, because they're the athletes of the house, and you're letting like 2 of the oldest guys in there beat you in these competitions. So it was like, look, like this might not be the best thing for us. And I love how Ricky is continuously spilling information to Lolo. Like she's like a little wind up doll to him. Like it's just like wind you up, get you all riled up, and then set you free. See what happens.
So Tom is going to eventually pitch this backdoor Ricky plan to Lolo. She gets pissed at him. They get into a fight. She can't believe how paranoid Tom is. I don't know why he would ever think that they would ever turn on them. Why would they ever think that? But we're definitely targeting Tom now, right? Yeah, like definitely. So she and Natalie let Ricky know that Tom is after him, and then Joey is going to pitch to Lolo and the rest of them that he is now on their side and is going to go after Kato and Tom. Lolo likes this idea. She wants to keep him. They try to pretend to Tom and Kato that they're still on board with everything, but it doesn't last, especially after Natalie uses the veto. Then, she and Natalie discuss again how much they don't like Tamar. They want her gone. As soon as Tom and Kato, they get Tom first, or Kato, will get rid of Tom and Kato, then Tamar. Tamar's next after that. That's what they need to do. She will not play ball with them. They don't like that. This is also when the big blow up happens in the kitchen. Acting classes, 2 bangs. Production! Get him out of my room! She tells Tamar about the Miss Cleo comments and calls Tom a psycho, a terrible human being. This is when everything goes crazy.
This was probably the ugliest fight this season. I think fights in the Big Brother house get particularly ugly every time it's between a man and a woman, because then you get a lot of like you just get a lot of the supposed sexist and misogynist undertones that come along with these types of arguments, as much validity as you want to give them, or as you're inclined to. But it was cringy to watch, especially like Tom or Kato just banging on the table, and it was just like Lolo saying like, "I'm not an actress, I'm an athlete." It's just like, as if being called an actress were the worst thing in the world, especially in this game. It was, it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. I definitely did not go back to look at that.
Yeah. So this all goes down here. They need Tamar to keep Joey, so they work on her, but to no avail here. Tamar is going to want Kandi to stay, as does Tom and Kato. So Kandi does stay. Joey ends up being evicted, and we head into week 4, where really nothing happens. Tamar wins the HOH. She agrees. Lolo agrees that Kato is the bigger threat between him and Tom, and then Kato's evicted. There really wasn't much else that went down this week beyond more. We talked about the big blow-ups. From this point on, Lolo is going to be trash talking most people in the house, and that's most of my notes consist of that. She wasn't doing a whole lot of strategy this week. It was a very short week, and it was a very straightforward week.
Yeah, it was kind of disappointed. I was like, it's Tamar's HOH and everything is going swimmingly. Like, really?
Yeah, it was the least eventful HOH. Who would have guessed?
I was like, she's been running amok this entire time, and now when she's in power, she's sitting there prim and proper. Like, come on now. But That's how you do it. That's how you do
true.
it.
That's true.
Name your target, get them the hell out of there. And that was it.
Yeah. So Tom and Lolo have a good conversation after Kato's evicted about what he had been thinking and why. He's apologizing to her. He feels good about this conversation, which is which helps protect her moving forward with Tom, even though she's going to immediately turn around and be like, oh, Tom was lying to me. Tom doesn't know that. So Tom, after he wins HOH, is wanting to keep Lolo safe. And then we have the whole meeting stuff that happens. Kandi talks him into nominating Natalie instead of Lolo. That helps her as well, obviously. He does have a conversation with Lolo where they talk about her Olympic dreams and how Tom wants Lolo to win the game because he knows that she needs the money more, and it's a very sweet conversation. Lolo is later going to be like, he used my Olympic dreams to manipulate me. He made fun of me for not having health care. How dare he? So this I think really helps sell, I think, the overall message of Lolo's game, which is that strategically there wasn't much there. Natalie was driving most of the decisions. Socially, with her alliance members, she was okay. Some of them she pissed off, some of them she was okay with, but there's, again, especially in comparison to Natalie and sometimes with Ricky, there's something that's a little more genuine and vulnerable about Lolo, right, that attracts people to her more so once they get to know her than people like Natalie and Ricky. And I think that was her true strength in the game, if we are to find one. But then like that vulnerability terrifies her and she hates it, and then so anytime she exposes that vulnerability in these like nice moments, she's gonna turn around and like harden up tenfold and be mad and use it against the person that she opened up to, which is one of her main faults in the game.
Yeah, which is also borderline iconic. Like that's just okay. But I mean, but I agree that because of the fact that she is sort of just like out there with her heart on her sleeve and sort of just kind of willing to get into it with anybody, people, she's not the wolf in sheep's clothing. She's the wolf. You see her coming, you know what's up. And I think that as far as her alliance members go, the ones that have already signed their life over to her, she kind of she can use that as a good driving force to really get things moving in the direction that she wants them to. So it's that I would agree that her greatest strength is her emotions. It's also her greatest weakness because that's all that she's really using in this game.
Yeah. So Lolo is going to try to flip Dena this week using her barrage of insults about Tom on her. This is important because Dena's not going to have time, if she is a juror, to see everything that happened on the show. And so when Lolo talks to her and tells her about how terrible a person Tom is, Dena does not agree with Lolo about this. She is later going to be like, Tom, I'm so sorry that these people did this to you. She's going to remember that Lolo said these things. And so anytime you expose your hatred to people like Dena, that's not good in terms of that jury vote. That said, basically everyone, all three of the, Lolo, Tamar, and Ricky have done this to different extents with Dena. So, but important to note, Tom is going to use the veto on Ricky and puts Lolo up on the block. She's of course mad. They have this big thing about who is going to go home. Natalie, let's decide between the two of us. They have a whole thing trying to decide which one of them is going to lay down their life in the game, but it doesn't matter because Kandi and Dena have already decided that it's going to be Natalie. Natalie's the bigger threat. Lolo is a bigger jury goat. This is really the only reason why Lolo stays, and obviously it was not exactly intentional on Lolo's part. So there you go. Natalie is evicted.
Yeah, I mean, it's never good for your chances at actually winning this game if you survive only because people want to think that they can beat you. It doesn't really say much about your social game. It doesn't really say much about your game at all. It just means that people don't think that your game is it. It ain't it, girl. It ain't it. So
yes. So we head into the double eviction. Obviously, we see Lolo win the next HOH, and she's going to target Tom. She's going to have that moment again. Not a good look to be on live TV and unable to nominate a second nominee. So that's not good. But she gets Tom on the block. Tamar wins the veto. Tom goes home. She does smarten up a little bit after Tom goes home. Ricky's gonna win the next HOH, and while Tamar is very still anti-Tom, Ricky is kind of like, hey, let's chill on Tom. When Lolo is with Tamar, she's all about the bashing. When she's with Ricky, she's like a little more respectful, which is, you know, at least half and half, which is not bad. But again, in the episode that we saw, the more visible stuff, we are reverting back to you know, pre-Tom being evicted Lolo days, and that's not a good look for her. And I think that the stuff on the feeds is going to be less impactful to the jury than that. So that's important to note.
Right. I mean, I guess it would be fair to say that Lolo is sort of the villain of the season, based off of that editing.
Yes, definitely. I think that the editors definitely want to paint Lolo as the villain, and I think that, like, it's something to be aware of that. Again, like in that episode, like Tamar plays ball with the producers. She gives them good TV. Lolo is like, F CBS for letting Tom do this to me. Production, get Kato out of my room. That's gonna have some impact on, like, if they're looking at some stuff and they're looking at, like, how should we portray these people, you know, they're gonna be inclined a certain way.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, and if you're gonna be the villain of the season, at least be the lovable villain. Even though I kind of feel like that breed is sort of died out right now. It's not really in the circle of fads in the Big Brother community. Being a lovable villain is still not good. But at least if you're gonna go that route, Lolo, at least be self-aware enough to know that you're being painted that way and just lean into it, but in a good way. But I just don't think that she really cares about any of that. I think that she's just, if she's pissed off, and that's just how it's going to be.
Yeah. So that leads us to where we are now. Lolo wins the veto, and she wants Kandi gone because she knows Kandi will not take her to the final two. And that's Lolo's game. Again, you know, I tried to find the good in it. And there just really isn't a whole lot there. I do think she can win the game. I think that, again, if honestly, easily the best thing she ever did in the game was her social media stuff, which might not even be her, but still, it's honestly, it points more to it not being her than anything else. But it was, it's been good. It's been seriously good. She's been tweeting at specific players. I don't know why nobody else is doing this. She is reaching out to them. She is apologizing. She is humble in these tweets. So if it is her, then it's good. It's fantastic. And if she wins the game, she might have that to thank, because Joey's vote could be essential. And I think that Joey, especially when he comes out of the house and he realizes that, hey, bashing Lolo gets me laughs, would probably be inclined to not vote Lolo. But he was very touched by what she sent him, probably. And so it does seem like she has his vote. And this could be a very, very tight vote, depending, you know, if she's up against Tamar. Even if she's up against Ricky, I think there's a chance she could have a chance there. Though I do think Ricky probably has the upper hand. Right. So definitely the social media is a good thing. Just Lolo being Lolo, she won some comps. That was good. And, you know, just being, I think that being just slightly more genuine than Natalie, where Natalie was a little more composed in front of other people. Natalie just seemed like the smarter, more threatening person. That was good for Lolo. So you know, if I'm looking at why Lolo got here, why Lolo might win the game, these are the reasons. She was less threatening. She was good on social media, and there's a vulnerability to her that she tries to extinguish but can't, and that appeals to people, I think. So those all are the things that I think have contributed toward her potential success.
And she won a couple comps that,
yes,
you know, ensured that other bitches went home. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, if social media becomes a driving factor to her winning this game, it'll just be so entertaining to see the rest of these celebrities clamoring for that damn iPad towards the end of the season, but like on their apology tour, like, oh, no, I'm so sorry about what I said to you night one in the bathroom. I really didn't mean it. I'm sorry. Like, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it.
I just really want, in the final two questioning, for Joey to be like, you know, your post really meant a lot to me. And Lolo's like, which one?
No,
I totally meant everything I said, I think.
Like, you're welcome. You're so welcome, Joey. And like I said, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that'll be priceless. That'll be priceless.
That's what we've got for you today. The roundtable will be tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to post the forum for it on Twitter as soon as this podcast ends. You can vote on who you're going to be voting for America's Favorite. You can rank all of the jury members in terms of where you think their votes are going to go. We'll go through all of the different final two combinations. It'll be fun times. You can rate the players' games, of course, and all sorts of fun questions, fun things to do here on the forum. So make sure you fill it out. You can find it on my Twitter page at ArmstrongTerran. I will pin it to the top as soon as I post it, I promise. So check that out, and then I will be back tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, to update you on everything that happens today on the live feeds. We will probably know at that point definitely who is going to be going home, and hopefully have a good idea of who's going to be taking who to the final two. And I will also be going over the final two players who I have not talked about yet, who are going to be in the final four, whether it's Kandi and Tamar, or Dena and Tamar, or small chance, depending on who blows up today, Kandi and Dena. So look out for that tomorrow, and then of course tomorrow night it's the 2-hour finale starting at 9 p.m. Eastern, and we will be recapping that and going over the winner of Celebrity Big Brother 2.
Yay! Went by so fast. Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
But you know, Big Brother Canada 7 on the horizon.
Let's do it.
And Survivor. I'm excited for the Survivor season. It's looking pretty good.
Yeah. All right. Like I said, you can find me on Twitter at ArmstrongTerran. You can find Amon at AmonAdwin. And yeah, see you next time.
Bye, guys.